An unusual crime is what police are calling the recent aggravated burglaries, where two homes were invaded by three masked men, one armed with a handgun, on early Monday, April 15th. Acting Commissioner of Police David Morris told JTV News that the police are taking positive action because home invasions are unusual occurrences in the BVI.
Between the sort of early hours of Monday morning, we had two reports of what we call aggravated burglaries, which is an offence where people have broken into people's houses and used or threatened violence. In these two occasions, it's an unusual crime for the British Virgin Islands because they're known as home invasions. And in my 3 years that we've been here, that I've been here, certainly not had this type of offence committed in the British Virgin Islands, where we had three masked men, we know one of whom had a handgun, break into properties whilst the occupants were there and steal property. So for us it was a very unusual crime, not one that well, I've certainly not seen it while I've been here, and as a consequence of that we've had to take, because of the serious nature of the crime, positive action in terms of the investigation, and particularly in terms of addressing the concerns not just of the victims, who were obviously traumatised by this experience, but also in terms of the wider community issues.
The Commissioner told JTV News that detectives and officers from the task force, with assistance from the Customs, executed a number of search warrants across the island of Tortola. During early morning raids on Wednesday, April 17th, 3 men were arrested.
We identified some suspects, and on Wednesday morning we carried out some search warrants and arrested the 3 individuals. We've discharged 2 of them whilst the inquiry is ongoing. One of the individuals is being charged with possession of cannabis with intent to supply as a result of our searches. But the investigation is ongoing. We're certainly doing a lot of work around the forensics, and we're fast-tracking that in terms of fingerprint DNA through the laboratory in the US and through our automated fingerprint system.
When asked what measures will the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force take to assure the people of the territory that aggravated burglaries don't become a norm in the BVI, the Commissioner says the acts are being committed by a small minority. He added that there has been a reduction in dwelling house burglaries following several arrests, and one individual admitted to 27 burglaries.
Reassure the public that in terms of this particular crime, as I've said, it is an unusual crime. It's not a crime that I've certainly seen within the territory. And that's why we took very positive action to make sure that we are seen and we are doing something about it in terms of that investigation. So I'd like to reassure the public in terms of the fact that it's not a crime that tends to happen here. Having said that, we do know, and I have said this in terms of our dwelling burglaries, people breaking in, because that same night we had 3 other burglaries, which weren't the same like this in terms of being a home invasions, aggravated burglaries, but people's dwellings are being broken into. We are investigating them. Having said that, we have seen a reduction over the last quarter in terms of the dwelling house type burglaries, and we have made some successes around that in terms of arresting people. We've arrested one individual, for example, who, as a result of our inquiries, admitted to us 27 burglaries that he'd committed across Tortola. So we do know, the individuals that are out there, which are a small minority, who are committing most of the crime. And again, advise members of the public to make sure that they secure their property when they leave it, and during the night that they lock their doors. I can understand perfectly in terms of having to leave the windows open in terms of the heat, etc., but certainly shutting their veranda windows or their patio doors and their ground floor doors and securing that type of property, and to be vigilant in their neighbourhoods. That's why we're doing a lot of work with our Neighbourhood Watch. For example, I think we just launched one about Neighbourhood Watch scheme in Brewers Bay.
Meanwhile, the police are appealing to the community for more information. Reports indicated that a motor vehicle and a scooter were heard leaving the area of Great Mountain around midnight Sunday into Monday, April 15th. Anyone with information can contact Crime Stoppers anonymously at 800-8477. Persons can also speak with any police officer within the force by calling a 3-digit access number 311.